the ranking member for his questions.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to start with you, Mr. McIntyre. Senator Coons and I are the two that led the resolution condemning the assassination of the opposition leader there in Eswatini. It's been 2 years, and not much has happened. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, this is, you really can't have much if you're assassinating the people that are trying to engage in the democratic process. What are your thoughts there? How optimistic are you that we're going to be able to move the Eswatini government and security services to actually provide some answers on that?
Senator, thank you for the question. And as noted in my testimony, this is going to be front and center for me if I'm confirmed. I think you have to speak publicly, be forward-leaning. I have quite a bit of experience in the Caribbean working with the rule of law, including in situations like this. So you have to be persistent. You have to state it publicly. You have to engage with the host government. You have to continue to offer the assistance in terms of law enforcement. There has to be progress made. You noted this correctly. If there's not rule of law, there is no civil society, there is no democracy promotion, there is no economic development, no forward movement. So I pledge, if confirmed, this will be the priority, one of the priorities for me, first and foremost, as the ambassador. Thank you.
Well, appreciate that. You referenced rule of law, and of course that's, to us, that's the beginning and end of what civil society is. Most countries have laws and purport to be living under a rule of law, but we all know laws don't make a difference if they're not enforced, if they're not lived by, or what have you. So it is really disheartening to see what happened there and how people kind of look the other way on it. It's just not the way civil society goes forward. Mr. Stimler, I've always been fascinated by Central Asia, the countries that are right there on the doorstep of Russia and China. I do have to tell you that the description you gave of Kyrgyz is not fully congruent with, you heard my opening statement, that they've had some backsliding there. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Are we in disagreement here, or you think that they can do better, that there has been some recent backsliding there?
Senator, thank you very much for this question. This is something I think about every day. I agree, and I'm concerned about recent developments in the Kyrgyz Republic. I'll say that it's not consistent with their democratic traditions. If confirmed, I commit to engaging with the government and with civil society to advance the rule of law per the comment you just made, to work to defend the rights of women and members of marginalized communities, to expand citizen participation in political processes, and to work with you and with your committee, your staff, and consult closely with you on these and related important issues, as I've done in the past.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate your thoughts on one other subject. I've always been fascinated by these countries and their dependence to a large degree on their neighbors economically and energy and otherwise. I was surprised when the war broke out that Russia really pressured these countries to get involved, and they all said no. In fact, they made, some of them I'd never met people from the country before, but yet they sent delegations here to meet with us individually and say, hey, this is not our fight. We don't want anything to do with it. Don't confuse us with Russia. Has that changed any over the years now that the war's been going on?
Thank you, Senator. That has not changed. The Kyrgyz Republic has been very clear that they have not recognized the so-called breakaway republics in Ukraine. They have prosecuted their own citizens for fighting on Russia's behalf in Ukraine, and they've made clear that their country will not be a conduit of sanctions evasion or export control evasion. If I am confirmed, I will continue to highlight the consequences that come with noncompliance. I will ensure that we provide the training and the information needed to the government, to banks, to the private sector, so that they understand how to comply with our sanctions, and I'll work to strengthen the country's sovereignty and resilience against this unwanted pressure.
What, since you are familiar with the region, how would you compare Kyrgyz to the other stands? Is this feeling that you've described ubiquitous in the region in Central Asia?
There are strengths and weaknesses with each country and challenges that they deal with, but I will say that they are all neutral. They've remained neutral. They have relations with both Russia, long-standing relations with Russia, and relations with Ukraine, and they're working very hard to ensure that they do not run counter to our sanctions regime.
One of the things that surprised me a little bit is at least one of them told me that when I asked them about the pressure from Russia, indicated they were actually getting more pressure from China than they were from Russia. Do you find that to be true in the region?
Thank you for the question. I think the pressure from Russia is different from the pressure from China. China is very interested in engaging economically in the region.
Always. And
asserting their unfair advantage, behaving very aggressively, non-transparently in the business sector. And but in essence, the problem is the same. Because of these great power neighbors, we need to work to help all the countries of Central Asia strengthen their sovereignty and resilience.
Appreciate your thoughts. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Kane?
Thank you, and congratulations to all the nominees. Your